So these price controls that we've been looking at have been used throughout the American economy for quite a while now. And in most places, the price controls end up having relatively bad effects. If you didn't already watch the video about rent controls in New York City, I'd encourage you to do that now. It's a great little video that shows not just the short run but the long run effects of these rent controls. Particularly, we end up with a situation where the quality and the quantity of housing that's available decreases, which is exactly contrary to the desires of the government and the public in this space. A second really important place where we've had price controls in the American economy is with gasoline. Now, I know it hurts at the pump when we're paying high prices for gasoline, but having the government control that price, we've found, is really not the answer. So back in the 1970s, we had a lot of problems with gas prices starting to spiral out of control because of actions that were taken by oil producers in the Middle East to cut off the supply of oil to the United States. And so we started getting prices for gasoline rising in the 1970s. People started crying out saying, hey, these prices are getting too high, can't the government do something about it? And so in certain places, governments did start implementing price ceilings on gasoline. And that was great as long as you got the gasoline. But in lots of places, we ended up with big shortages because gas stations couldn't get enough cheap gas to sell at those controlled prices. And so they ended up saying, hey, look, we just don't have gasoline. It's just not available. So while it sucks to be paying high prices for gas, it's even worse if that gas isn't available for us, if the market isn't allowed to have that price rise to try to ration the gas to the people who need it the most. We have even fewer price floors in America, but one of them is maybe the most important price control of all, the minimum wage. Minimum wages set minimum prices that firms can pay for labor. And that's a particularly important minimum wage because, or particularly important price control because we've got millions of people who either earn minimum wage or earn a wage that's close to and affected by minimum wages. Another example of a price floor, and it's not like an exact 100% example of a price floor, but it's very, very similar, are agricultural price supports. So there's minimum prices that the federal government guarantees for particular products. So here we've got minimum prices for sugar. You might be looking at that saying, 20, 25 cents a pound for sugar doesn't sound like it's excessive, but it's actually somewhere around 2 or 3 times the world price for sugar. And so this has consequences, right? It means that American sugar producers, sugar farmers, are encouraged to produce more sugar than is needed. But it also means that it's difficult to sell because it's priced excessively compared to other products. And so a lot of sugar, or potential sugar users, will choose to use other products instead. It's why in America most of our soda is flavored with high fructose corn syrup instead of sugar, because that sugar is just too expensive to use. A lot of people believe that soda overseas tastes better than soda in America precisely because those manufacturers are using the sugar that American manufacturers don't use because in America it ends up being too expensive.